Yeah, man, September. Fuck. I was like contemplating moving to North Carolina back then. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on. Things are different.
Yeah, like, and now it's all changed.
Yeah, well, now I'm like glad I didn't because if I moved there right before all this happened, like I wouldn't even know anyone or anything, you know?
You're like, I'd be self quarantined and alone,
Yeah,
even more alone.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah, my girlfriend would have maybe moved with me. You'd think we didn't have to make that decision. But yeah, she probably would have hated me then. I moved her to a place where she knows no one or nothing, and then you're forced to stay in an apartment with me.
that's like, I saw a meme the other day, or whatever it was. It was the picture from Breaking Bad where it's Walt and Skyler standing in front of the giant pile of cash, and then over Walt it said barbers, and over Skyler it said divorce attorneys, and it said when the virus is over.
Yeah, I actually, I had, I had more money than like I had ever had in a long time because I wasn't spending it on like food or anything. I wasn't like the student loans thing got canceled, right? And then I got the stimulus check, and then I got like my company also did like a bonus thing, so it was like, oh my god, we need this more often, and we have a third of the planet die more often, please.
You're like, please and thank you.
Yeah,
Oh man. Yeah, I was like, I've been working so much fucking overtime. It's insane. And it's like I'm like the same way. I have like way more like disposable income because like we're not going to Target and spending money. We haven't really been going to like the grocery store like very often. We just kind of either like Instacart or like fries pickup, whatever we need, like every like other
yeah,
week.
you're not strolling down the aisles picking up shit you don't need.
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, let's just get some chicken. We need some more like kitchen cleaner, whatever, and like some more dog treats.
I uh, I actually, man, we've been picking up what the complete opposite because we have nothing to do, so we're sitting here bored. So we've been buying like snacks and shit, like pretzels and cookies and all this shit that we don't need because we're just bored.
Oh, I was like, dude, do not get me wrong. I was like, Megan orders coffee every morning, and it's like I don't drink coffee, so I just get tea. But it's one of those things where it's like normally I'm like, if like we go to Starbucks or something, and she's like, "Do you want anything?" I'll be like, "Nah, I'm good." But because with DoorDash, if she was just to order the coffee, it's actually more expensive because it's like a cheaper order, so they like charge for like the delivery and whatever.
Yeah,
But if I order my thing, it's actually cheaper for her. So we just end up like, but yeah, it's like $15 like every day.
yeah,
But she's buying it, so it's like I don't
whatever,
fucking care.
whatever. Yeah,
Like, yeah, I'm like, if you want to do it, I was like, it's your fucking money. Like, it's not my place to tell you to get coffee or not. Like, and I'm getting a free drink out of it, so
yeah. I've been drinking a lot more coffee also, which normally I don't drink it. And yeah, like then I get super hyper, and it's good for work because I got like a promotion at work, so I'm like the lead of this department, so I always have to like do shit and I'm in meetings all the time. But then when there's nothing to do, I'm like, fuck, I gotta rearrange the cabinets and I'm gonna do all the dishes and I'm gonna fucking vacuum this apartment for the third day in a row.
yeah, I was like, for those of you that don't know, Troy works at the Alaskan Bush Company, so.
Close enough. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm actually up in Seattle, where it was Coronaville, USA for like 2 weeks because we were the first people that had the virus and the first people that like people were dying. We had like 100 deaths before anyone else even like had a death, and now we're like 18th on the list. Like New York decided to take that title, and I was like, fine, run with it, bro. We don't need that.
Well, yeah, in fucking New York, you fucking cough in your apartment, the fucking next two buildings next to you fucking get it.
Yeah, pretty
Like,
much. I think I stopped paying attention, honestly, as I'm, just over it. Personally, if they would just stop with this whole thing, I'd be fine. But, yeah, last time I looked just in America, there was like 27,000 deaths in New York, and, Seattle still has not even hit 1,000. So like we're probably now safer than most other places.
You're like, don't worry, the rain will wash it
Well,
out.
that's the thing though, is because what's funny is Stephanie and I were making jokes because the Seattle freeze is a thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before. But it's like people in Seattle are really introverts. That's the right word, right? Yeah, and like they don't like hanging out. They don't like doing things like this whole work from home thing. Everyone's just loving it. So like the Seattle freeze actually saved lives because everyone's assholes and don't and cancel their plans and everything. So no one actually hangs out with anyone anyways.
They're like, man, now I don't need to make an excuse to bail on this event. You're like,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
the ultimate excuse to just stay home and do what I was gonna do
Yeah,
anyway.
pretty well much. I don't have to pretend to be polite. I can just say, "Hey, I'm trying to save lives here. Fuck off."
You're like, sorry, bro, I nicked my balls in the bathroom when I was shaving them before coming. I was not gonna make it, man. Sorry.
There's only so many times you can use that excuse.
Yeah, like I should be an expert by now. Like
You
shit.
would think. Well, when the barbers open back up, I should be okay.
Yeah, yeah. You get that. You can get that TS shaved into your pubes again.
Oh man. But what have you been up to? I don't know how it is in Arizona. Like we like basically can't even leave our apartment still. We're still on lockdown. I think they're opening stuff back up next week, but you basically can go to the grocery store and that's it. You know, like there's nothing to even do really.
So, to my knowledge, I think businesses are allowed back open again and stuff right now. Like, I think I think it was last week. I think it was like the 15th or something like that. Businesses were allowed to open back up, but I mean, a lot of places just driving around, it's still like fucking dead. Like I think like Ross and stuff like opened back up again, and like a lot of restaurants and stuff like Outback and stuff have like signs saying that like their dine-in area and stuff is now available. But I know a lot of places though that are still doing like takeout only,
Mm-hmm.
and like you can't like go in and stuff. And I mean, personally, since like I don't even remember when this happened, like March or whatever, I think is when for my work and stuff we got told to leave the office, and we've been strictly working from home. And everyone's like, when are we coming back to the office? And they're like, honestly, we don't even have a date. Like they're like, we're told like maybe July, but honestly I'd be surprised if we went back this year at all.
Yeah, I think. Wait, so we have a lot of tech companies around us, and we've sort of been like letting Microsoft and Google dictate like how our company does things. And I think they're not even opening up until October. And then some of them have been saying like, "Oh, you can just work from home forever." So, I'm not looking forward to that personally. I am not a fan of this work from home life. So, as soon as it opens up, like day one, I'm going back into the office.
Well, see, that's what's weird is because I was excited for like the work from home thing to begin because I have fucking 4 dogs, and it's like nice because it's like normally I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day because I have to wake up and take care of them and take a shower, and then I'd do dishes or do whatever. But and then we'd have to drive to work. But since we're from home, it's like roll out of bed at like I don't know, like 6:30, 6:40, take a shower, and then it's like I don't need to worry about the dogs because it's like I can clock into work and then wander into the living room and feed them and do whatever. It's like it's not a big deal. But it's gotten to the point where because everyone's at home and it's like the end of the month and everyone's trying to fucking refinance their houses and shit like that, like work's been insane, and it's like all this overtime, and it's gotten to the point where like every day normally going to work, it's like I'm like, oh, whatever. I'm like, I'm not like dreading going to work or anything. And then it's like once I leave work, I'm like, don't think about work. Like I don't give two fucking shits until like tomorrow about work. But since it's like working from home, it's like home is work. So it's like I wake up in the morning now with like my fucking stomach and knots, like anxious, like
Right.
I'm like, dude, I don't
Right,
want to fucking go to
yeah.
like it's weird, and I never had that before, and that's why it's so fucking weird because I'm like I was never like that before,
Yeah.
and now I have that,
It's-
and I fucking hate it.
It's the
Like,
exact same, man. Like I tried to explain this to people because I'm pretty much solo. Like all of my coworkers that I actually am friends with, they're all like, "Oh man, I'm not gonna go to work ever again. Like it's awesome." No, you need that work like life divide. You know, like
Yeah, that
yeah, like I
separation.
look in my living room and it was like, oh, that's my fun time. You know, like I can play with my dog, I can play video games and stuff. Now it's like the lines are so blurred that I'm sitting there falling asleep, like thinking about, man, I should probably set up a meeting to talk to Peter about this or that. And I was like, why am I fucking thinking about that? Fall asleep. Like, you don't have to worry about that. You stopped working 5 hours ago.
Yeah, dude, like so recently, like, cause normally I only work like 8 to 5, but dude, like this past like 2 months, it's like I've been working like 8 to 7, 8 to 8, and like
Yeah.
even for my birthday, like today, that's why I'm like at my parents, and today we're doing my birthday dinner here because we couldn't do it on my actual birthday because I was like, honestly, I don't know what fucking time I'm gonna get off work tonight, and I was like, I don't want to like leave you guys like kind of hanging in the wind depending on whatever fucking time it is I'm actually gonna get off.
Yeah, I saw it was your birthday the other day, and all it did was make me depressed because I was like, damn, it's my birthday in a couple months, and I'm going to be 32.
I know you'll join the club. I was like, it was weird because I woke up and it's like I'm 30 and my left knee hurt for no fucking reason. Like I didn't do anything, and I'm like, is this how it starts? Like I was like, it's bad enough I'm losing my fucking hair, and then now it's like my dad was like, yeah, the Carter knees are
Oh
like the
my
first
god.
thing to go, and I'm like, fuck.
Dude, mine is my back. It's just been like slowly getting worse and worse, and I can only use the excuse, oh, I slept on it wrong. Only so many times.
Dude, well, that's what sucks is like I fucked my back up. I don't remember when this was. It was, I think it was like at least a year or so ago. From we were giving the dogs baths in the garage, and I have this giant like black like heavy duty tub that we got from like the pet feed store and stuff that's like really deep to give them baths and stuff in. But it's like the edge is so tall to help keep them in and stuff that you have to like like some of them will walk in, but some of the dogs like I don't want to get in the fucking tub, so I have to like pick them up. And my one dog's fucking 80 pounds, and I don't know what fucking happened, but like when I lifted her, I must have just been like, oh, I'll just lift it with my back,
Yeah.
and I like tore a fucking muscle like on like the left side of my back, like down near like behind my left hip, and I was like fucking in so much pain, like I couldn't even like sit down. It fucking hurt, and I was like crying, and I had to get like some they gave me some like steroid shit and stuff to like fix it, and it made it better. But then here recently, like a month ago, like working from home and stuff, it started fucking hurting again, and I'm like, dude, and I'm like I need more of that steroid shit, but I'm like I do not want to go to the doctor
Yeah.
or like Walgreens or anything right now. So Megan had like some I don't know, like leftover like Vicodin and shit, and I was just taking that to try
Oh,
and
that's
fucking kill
healthy.
the
That's a
bit.
healthy
And
choice,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, dude, I was like living off like 800 milligram like ibuprofen and fucking Vicodin, just trying to like subdue the pain and get through
Yeah.
the. But it like would make me tired, so I'm like, fuck, this isn't. So I didn't want to take it while I was working because I'm like dozing off, and I'm like, no, dude. So then after work, I'd like munch a bunch of pills and fucking go to sleep.
Yeah, that's what actually I'm more like a hypochondriac. It's like every time something bad happens, I'm like, oh shit, I need to go to the doctor. I need to go to the emergency room. Something's going on. Like I'm dying for sure. I'm dying. And this whole thing has like made me way like reel it way back in, as it's like something happens. I'm not going to the doctor anytime soon. I don't want to catch nothing. It's gonna be way worse if I go to the doctor. It's fine. Just drink some Pepto Bismol. You'll be fine.
You're like, this is it. You're like, this is how it ends.
Yeah, I'd rather die here than die at a hospital like fucking patient one or whatever.
Like someone fucking coughed on the door 48 hours earlier, and you're like, this is it.
Yeah, pretty much. Like even we order like DoorDash stuff too, as well. We tell ourselves it's to support local businesses, but it's just as we're lazy, you know. And
Yeah, it's just because
even
you've
then,
been
I'm
home
like,
all day, but you didn't fucking pull anything for dinner.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And we got food. Like we actually went shopping for the first time in a while yesterday. We hit up like 5 different places. We're like, we're doing everything. All right. As we got to get the jugs of water at Home Depot. We got to get our specialty meats at the butcher. All right, we go to this grocery store so that we can get the essentials. Then we got to go to Trader Joe's to get all that good Trader Joe's shit, you know. And And then we came back and filled up the fridge, and we're like, all right, well, we don't have to leave the house for like 2 more months. The first thing we do is we fucking order sushi.
Yeah. You like get all those groceries, and she's like, "Cool, what do you want to do now?" And you're like, "I don't know, want some Buffalo Wild Wings?" She's like,
Yeah,
"I."
pretty well much, yeah. Which actually, we did order Buffalo Wild Wings a couple days ago, and it
Dude,
was some spicy ass shit. Like I don't know what it was. I haven't had Buffalo Wild Wings in a while, so she was like, "Oh, what do you want to order?" I don't know, whatever. What sounds good? Mango habanero. That sounds delicious. I'm sitting there like
oh god.
drowning it in ranch because it's like melting my mouth, but I'm so hungry that I'm just keep eating it.
I was like, we actually just had Buffalo Wild Wings last night, which is why I said it. Which we don't have it like normally, but I was like, man, I was like craving some like chicken nuggets or
Yeah,
something,
that's the
and
thing.
then
They're
it
not. They're
evolved.
not even wings if you get the boneless ones. You know, they're basically just
Yeah,
chicken nuggets.
they're spicy. They're just Buffalo style nuggets.
Yeah, yeah, pretty well much. This deli that we go to, they have like their own handmade like Slim Jims. You know, like meat sticks, and they have one that's buffalo wing and blue cheese flavored. And I always get like just one of them. Like you're supposed to buy like a pack of 10 or whatever, and I'm just like, oh, and I have one. They're like, three? No, no, just one. One of each? No, just give me one, ma'am, please. And then I start eating it immediately because it's so good.
Dude, that reminds me of you saw pictures of it before and stuff. At work, there used to be this food truck that would come by that was Buddy's Pizza, which is the Chicago, the deep dish
Oh yeah,
style
yeah.
pizza, and we would fucking buy out that truck like every time they came. And the one time like we went down there like right when they pulled up, and I was like, yeah, because like the pizza's like one slice was basically like a quarter of like the pizza or whatever that like they would serve. And they were like, "Oh yeah, like what can I get you guys or whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Can we get can I get 4 cheese?" And he's like, "Slices?" I'm like, "No, bro, like pizzas." Like, and he's like, 16 slices? And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Dude, that's like everything we have made right now." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And he's like,
It sounds
"Yeah."
like a good problem. I don't know what the issue
I know.
is.
And he's like, "Well," he's like, "Okay, can you like wait like or whatever like an hour so we can like make one?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll wait." So I
Yeah,
was like, "I don't
no
give a
worries,
shit."
whatever,
So
man. I want my pizza.
yeah, I was like, dude, I was like, yeah, I'm willing to give you money. Like everyone is willing to give you money for like.
Yeah.
I was like, we will spend like $300 on this food truck for like the entire closing department
I
for
actually
like pizza.
missed that. I haven't even thought about food trucks in a while. There was this one place called like Grilled Cheese Wizards or whatever, and that's just their thing. And like all of the menus, all like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings like themed stuff, and it's just like gourmet grilled cheese sandwiches, and you get it with like a cup of tomato soup. Oh man, they would come every
Mm.
Wednesday. It was really good. So thanks,
Yeah,
thanks for reminding me another thing I don't like about this.
you're like, thanks, prick. That reminds me of in when we went to Portland and stuff. There was a grilled cheese truck that we went to. It was kind of the same. I don't remember what it was called, but it's like they had one where it was like the cheeses and stuff, and it was like macaroni and cheese grilled cheese sandwich. And I got the one where it was 2 grilled cheese sandwiches, but then it had like a hamburger patty between them. So it was like a hamburger with 2 grilled cheeses as the
Jesus
buns.
Christ, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, I only got because you could do like where it's the whole thing or just like half, and I was like, yeah, no, just half, please. Like I was like, it was like 9:30 at night, and I was like, dude, I was like, I'm gonna fucking destroy this Airbnb bathroom. Like, I just half, please. Like, I do not want to fucking be up at like wake up at 11 at night in a cold sweat and be like, uh-oh.
And you have IBS all of a sudden.
Yeah, like Megan's like going, I'm like, move. I need to go. I'm like, God damn, dude. And it's like the Airbnb we stayed at too. It was weird because the pictures and stuff made it look like I mean, it was nice, but it was weird because it was like basically like it was like attached to the side of their house, which we didn't really know. Like the pictures didn't convey that
Yeah.
that it was basically like their basement and stuff, but it like looked like it was like a cute like little thing and stuff. And then I'm like, oh, I'm like, this is literally like their basement thing that you just kind of access from the outside, and it's like you can like he was a graphic designer or something like that, so he just would work from home, so he'd be up at like 11:30 at night fucking pacing around and shit, and he has a
Oh,
dog, and you could hear like the dog nails on the floor like do 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 like go
yeah.
from one room to the other and stuff, and I was like, man, this isn't exactly what we kind of thought it was gonna be. Like,
Yeah, when I first moved here, I got an Airbnb, but it was like a 2 week Airbnb, and the way that like the advertisement was like if I would have my own place, and I was like, all right,
mhm.
well, like as I moved here, when I got the job, I moved from Chicago to Seattle. I drove here like over the weekend and started my job. Like I had no wiggle room really, so when I got here, I got in this Airbnb, and it was like, oh, you have your own room in this house that this family lives in, and like they have like 3 children, and like I had to like put my name on the food that I put in the refrigerator, and I had to like make sure to share the shower with this like family of 5 people. I was like, this is not an ideal situation. Why did I ever buy this? Yeah, so yeah, watch out for those Airbnb advertisements.
I was like, I'm trying to remember. There's this one pizza place that we ate at in Seattle. I keep wanting to say Zips, but that's not it because that's
Zeke's.
that Zeke's. Yes,
Yeah,
that's it.
I'm not a
Yeah,
fan.
did Zeke's is. You're not a fan?
No, no, no. They have that macaroni and cheese pizza, right? Is that what you were about to bring up?
Uh, no, I don't remember what pizza we had there, but I remember like the pizza's like I thought it was like decent. You know, I wouldn't. It's not like my favorite pizza place I've ever eaten by any means, but the drinks, like their alcoholic drink, like the mixed drinks
Oh,
that they had were good. Like they had like we got fucking like they had like 4 of them, and we literally got all. It was like a prick. Like one was like it was like farmer's daughter or something. It was like some prickly pear, like whatever. But like they came in like almost like little pitcher things, and we ended up going through like a pitcher of like each of these mixed drinks. So we were like fucking sloshed by the time we left that
all right.
place.
So I've never actually eaten in. So maybe next time when society decides to open up again, I'll give that a try. But yeah, I have like a really high standard of pizza. So most places I'm not really a fan.
You don't
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
You're
That
like that
once you have
Chicago
Chicago
blood.
pizza, it's very hard to go back. Like I've told people this: if you eat the pizza and it doesn't like mess up your bowel movements for 3 days, it's not real pizza.
That's like my favorite place here in Arizona is called Pizza by Napoli, and it's this family owned like they don't deliver, you can only do pickup or dine in or whatever, but it's like the same 6 people always working. There's like the one Mexican dude who does the wings, and then there's 2 twin brothers, and they're like I think they're Russian. Like I think the families were like because they speak to each other in another language. I don't know what the language is, but they look total like slicked back hair, like single gold chain, and like every time you answer the phone, there was like Pizza Monopoly. How can I help you? And there's the old dude who's like I think they're like uncle or something who never talks, who's the one who actually is like always by the oven making the pizza. And then there's this real old fucking looking dude, and he's the one that burned down their other location, and he went to jail for arson and I think like attempted insurance fraud or something, and then now he works at this location. Like it's so good
Well,
though.
when
Like
when they're down in the dumps, they know who to turn to for to let the insurance money.
right? I'm like, dude, I'm like this guy. So it's just so fun. It's like funny though because like when I like answer like call or whatever, it's like they like know me basically, and they're like, "What can I get you, bud?" And I'm like, "I'll go there because I always get extra ranch because they make like homemade
Whoa,
ranch
all
and it's
right.
like really thick and good." So I'm always like, they always probably think I'm like fucking weird because I'm like, "Yeah, can I get like 6 extra ranches or whatever?" And like, "Yeah, no problem, bud."
Whatever. That's legit though. But yeah. So how have you been? Like if you're working so much, then how are you still getting the podcast done? It's pretty cool. Like you said, you took a break for a while, but it seems like now I see you cranking them out all the time.
Yeah, it's because I kind of hop back on. I try to Like, yeah, I took a break for a while just because I don't even remember why or what happened. Like, I think because I think the last time I I think almost I want to say that you were the reason that I took the 3 month break, because remember I was trying to get you to come back on and you said that you were talking to Epic and stuff and you had some shit going on
Yeah,
or
and then I
whatever,
went
so
to
you were like,
Paris. So it's not like I had any
yeah.
time to do this.
Yeah, so you were like, yeah, maybe like when I get back or whatever, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I think I tried to reach out to someone else to like be a guest or something, and they were busy. So I was like, oh, I think a lot of people just have like a lot of shit going on right now or whatever. And then it's like 1 week turned into 2 weeks, and then it turned into 3 months.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but then finally I was kind of like, man, like I like was sitting there the one day, and I was like, my one friend like Brandon or whatever is like, dude, he's like, are you ever gonna do the podcast again or whatever? And I was like, oh yeah, dude, it's been a
Oh yeah,
minute. I
that
was
was the
like,
thing that I did.
yeah, I was like, man, it has been a while. I was like, I kind of want to go back to doing that again. Which I remember busting your balls about your comic book, the Atrocity.
Yeah.
I was like, what happened to that? Because I was like listening to that, and then all of a sudden like episodes stopped coming out, and I was like, did Troy like run out of comics to fucking talk
Yeah,
about?
no,
Or
I took like
something?
a 2 month break also because, well, so I was doing the website, the snappening website, which I completely shut
Mhm.
that down finally, as it was just taking up so much time, and it was turning more into work and less into fun, and
Yeah.
and like I wasn't getting paid for it, and I think there was like a moment where I had to renew my license, and it would cost $150, and I was like, this is it. This is the moment. I'm done with you. So I've leaned way more. So I started doing the podcast, and then like took a break for a little bit, and then when I shut down the website, I leaned more into doing the podcast, and now I knock them out like maybe every 2 weeks, every at least a month. Like if I go a month without doing it, I like force myself to do one just so that I don't, you know, fall into that lull where it's been 3 months and my 5 listeners have fallen off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
I mean, it's easier for me honestly because I don't have to have a guest. Like you
That's
have to rely on other people's schedules. I just have to read a comment and then sit down and talk about it.
and that's like I've done a couple where it was just me, but it's like those episodes I do not like
Yeah.
nearly as much, because I think it's funner to like sit there and actually talk to someone instead of me just sitting in the closet by myself, and I'm like so
Yeah, so this
like,
happened.
sitting there.
What did you think, Justin? Well, Justin, that's a good point.
Yeah, I'm like, so yeah, I did this thing. Yeah, it's cool, and I watched Sharknado again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the structure of mine also is different. I'm not just talking about something. Like, for example, I've been reading a bunch of old Batman comic books, right? And like
Mhm.
Death in the Family and Nightfall and all this stuff. And I read The Long Halloween for the first time, which is like people regard it as this amazing comic. And I was like, all right, let me give it a try, right? And it actually was phenomenal, So you have like the writer is Jeff Loeb. He worked on like the Daredevil season 1 on Netflix. He wrote that, which is why that one was so good. And then you have Tim Sale, who was the artist, who was like he's just crazy. Like when we get off of this, like just Google like Tim Sale Joker or Tim Sale Batman. Like the art is just really weird and like exaggerated and stuff, And so on the podcast, all I'll do is basically tell the story of the comic, but really loose and with swear words, and I'll be like, and then Harvey Dent fucking decided to kill this dude for no fucking reason, but then you find out it wasn't Harvey Dent, it actually was this guy who died on New Year's Eve. So I have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of this Tim Sale Joker art. He's the one. Yeah, I'm looking at it's all like the really exaggerated
Yeah, his like
jawline and
smile
stuff
is
and
like
big
bigger
teeth.
than his entire face.
Yeah, it's like in this one picture, dude. His fucking chin is like touching his like fucking belly button at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. It's insane. And like look up his Poison Ivy also. I really liked his Poison Ivy. But yeah, I found out that they worked on a bunch of stuff. So I read The Long Halloween. I loved it. I read which what's funny too is so I picked up the sequel, which was Dark Victory, and there was like a foreword in Dark Victory talking about The Long Halloween and Dark Victory and how the guy who wrote these two books helped Christopher Nolan write the Dark Knight trilogy. And basically, what happens with Two-Face in The Long Halloween is almost identical to what happens to Harvey Dent um, in what's it called, Dark Knight. Yeah, and yeah, that
You're
thing
like,
that I just
I don't know, that
what was that movie
box
in the Dark
office
Knight
shattering
trilogy?
movie.
I don't remember what it was called. But yeah, so it's really cool when you like find out those little tidbits. I like buying like the 25th anniversary edition or 10-year anniversary edition because they have a lot of those tidbits in there, you know. Um, but yeah, it's really cool. I read like what did I just read? Oh yeah, like Under the Red Hood, which was when Jason Todd comes back, and
Yeah,
I
I
never
love that
really
one.
cared about the Red Hood. Like I never gave it that much of a thought. Like it was in the Dark Knight 3. You know what was that? No, not Dark Knight. Arkham Knight, the video game, right? But I didn't have that much content, so I bought and read Death in the Family when Jason Todd gets killed, which that helmet is insane. As it's like from the 80s, the Joker's like trying to sell nuclear weapons to Arab terrorists in Lebanon or something, and like um he it's pretty ridiculous. Like he also swaps out food that's meant for like African relief, like for starving children in Ethiopia, and like is cracking jokes about it. And I was like, damn, this is somehow way more lighthearted and way more fucked up than any Joker comics I've read before. And then he finds Jason Todd and he beats him to death. And then I immediately read Under the Red Hood, which is where he comes back and he's resurrected. And it made me fall in love with him. Like honestly, I want to read more Red Hood stories because it was probably like I know there was a animated movie about it too. I think Neil Patrick Harris did the voice of him. But those animated movies, they changed so much of the actual story. Like the story in the comic is way more fucked up, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Maybe I'll do a podcast about that next.
Well, yeah, because I love the animated movie and stuff, and it's like I've read the comic or whatever that it's based off of, and it's like one of those things where it's like like they did I think a decent job, but it's like you can't put in everything,
Yeah, well,
sort of thing. Like they have to cut out a lot of parts
in the comic they
and
talk
stuff,
about
and
like Superboy from Crisis on Infinite Earths like shattering the multiverse, and that's how Jason Todd came back to life. And I was like, yeah, you couldn't put this. Just say it's Lazarus Pit. Just we don't need to make it too confusing in the animated show.
well, that's just like what was the the animated because they did a movie for
Yeah,
Hush
I figured
too.
that's what you were bringing up, as they have that huge
Yeah.
change in that one too.
Well, yeah, because I mean, they cut out like the entirety of like Superman's part in this, and like all the different side storylines and stuff that are going. They basically like cut all that shit out, and it was just like.
Yeah,
So I was like, man, like and like Huntress, I think was in it, and like all the like, there's all these other characters
yeah,
that were like, involved
they
in that
replace
storyline.
yeah they replace like because in the comic I think they have like the Tim Drake Robin, and they're like, well, we haven't introduced this yet, so let's just make him Dick Grayson as Nightwing. And then also, yeah, they had Huntress in the comic, and they were like, we don't have time to explain. It's Batgirl. You know who Batgirl is. Fuck it, whatever.
Yeah, and like Poison Ivy had like Superman under her spell and
Yeah.
shit, and like all that shit was like gone, and like Catwoman, a
Well,
lot of her like shit that she had going on was cut out.
There's this whole plot twist where like where Batman thinks that Hush is Jason Todd, and then just a mind fuck with him, and this was before the Red Hood comic comes out, and then you find out it's Clayface just to mess with him, and they like cut all that out too, is they couldn't explain it, I guess.
Yeah, which it's like again, it's like I enjoyed the animated movie for like what it was but it's like at the same time, I'm like to really. It's almost like I feel like if you haven't read the comic, it's like I'd watch the animated movie first, and if you're like interested in it, then it's like reading the comic. You'll be like, oh, dude, this is like way more comprehensive, and
Yeah,
like
if you do
this
it the
piqued
other
my
way
interest.
around, yeah.
Yeah, because then otherwise you're just gonna probably end up disappointed.
Yeah, because those plot twists are what I look out for. Like actually, there was a couple that came out recently. Oh yeah, there was a one that just came out that's like Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, and I read the Apocalypse War comic and I loved it. So I'm just not even. I'm just completely avoiding that animated movie as I don't want to be set up for disappointment. As there's no way they're gonna do it right.
See, I have it downloaded, but I haven't watched it yet because I just watched not that long ago. I watched the where it was the Dark Justice League one with Constantine
Yeah,
and stuff in
yeah.
it. And that was good. I was like, I love me. I fucking miss. I'm so happy that they got the dude or whatever who played live action Constantine to be the voice of animated Constantine and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, he
awesome.
like really lucked out because he had that one that one season, and I liked the season, but apparently no one else did. And yeah, and then I thought he was fucked. He was done, and now he's in Legends of Tomorrow. They like picked him back up, and he's basically the definitive. Like he's to Constantine what yeah, I can't even like think of another one like who's that guy that does all the Batman voices, you know?
Oh, Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill, yeah, Joe. That's good enough. That's good enough. I want to hear Mark Hamill's fucking Batman now. No, yeah, Mark Hamill's Joker, like the definitive one. But yeah, no. And I heard that was okay. So I'm kind of excited and a little worried. Did you ever get the DC Unlimited at streaming service, whatever that was? All right. So they
No,
had this.
I know HBO like basically like picked it up and like conglomerated
Well,
it into their
here's the thing. So
ecosystem.
actually, here's something really interesting. If I still had the website, I would have wrote about this. So here you get the scoop. You get to put this on your show, man. So
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Remember a while. So when Disney Plus was being talked about, there was like rumors that WB was going to do their own streaming service, and everyone thought, oh, that's fucking stupid. As like you're just trying to copy Disney Plus, obviously. And then you had the DC thing too, and people were like, "Well, what the hell are you gonna do? You have the DC streaming, and then you're gonna have another one that has all the DC stuff on it. Also, why would you do that?" So this news happens. Months go by. DC streaming services like shit. Like I actually pay for it, and I watch two shows. Doom Patrol and the animated Harley Quinn. And the animated Harley Quinn's going to Sci-Fi for season 3, and then Doom Patrol's going to HBO. So I was like, oh man, this HBO thing's weird. Like HBO had what's it called? They had that Watchmen TV show. I don't know if you've ever watched that.
hmm
It was
I heard it was
oh
good,
man,
but
it
I
was.
haven't watched
I
it.
could not stop watching it. Like I ended up staying up to like 6 in the morning once, like watching 7 episodes, as it was so good. So then I heard that they're taking Doom Patrol season 2. I was like, all right, this is weird. And then recently the Zack Snyder cut announcement of Justice League happened, right? And I was like, why the fuck does HBO care so much about this? Well, guess who owns HBO? Fucking, whoever owns them, owns them, owns them. Time Warner. So Time Warner actually owns HBO, and Time Warner owns WB, which owns DC. So the WB streaming service is never gonna happen. They made it, and then they're gonna put HBO's name on it, as HBO has HBO Now and HBO Go, which always made me confused. Also, why HBO Max was gonna be a thing. So in order to compete with Disney Plus, WB made the sacrifice of removing their name so that they could then have the HBO name on it, and HBO and have all DC stuff, all Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, everything. They have Friends, for Christ's sake, like so. The best thing they did was put HBO's name on it, and actually compete against Disney Plus.
Damn, I was like, I know, because like with the quarantine and stuff, like Megan's like, I mean, because we have Disney Plus and Netflix and Hulu and Verve or whatever for Crunchyroll and like anime and stuff. But Megan bought like Amazon Prime Video with HBO and HBO Max and all that shit over because she was running out of shit to watch because she like watched everything that she wanted basically across everything else. And and I was like, oh man, I'm like excited that she does have HBO Max because they like picked up so many good, like they picked up Adventure Time, like they're doing the BMO special thing, but I also heard that I wouldn't be surprised if they did like more. I don't think they are gonna like reboot or continue like Adventure Time at all, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did kind of like little side like 8 episode like whatever storyline like thing, like they're doing like a BMO miniseries thing, whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. The dude who made Regular Show, his new show is going to be on HBO Max. And Boondocks, they're bringing Boondocks back. So it's like they took like all the good Cartoon Network, like Adult Swim stuff, and they're like, come on over to HBO Max.
Yeah, and I feel like they're what Netflix was. Like their plan is what Netflix originally was before Netflix decided to just only care about their. Like we hardly turn on Netflix anymore, because it's all their first party stuff, like all the Netflix original shows and movies, and like yeah, some of them are good, but there's so many that there's no way you're gonna watch all of them, and B, the ratio of good to shitty is like really skewed, so it's you almost don't want to take the risk anymore unless you know it's good.
Well, and it's like the third thing is anymore, you don't know if it's gonna get continued or not. Like there were so many where I started it and it's like one season, like what was it, Daybreakers or whatever. Like I watched the first season. It wasn't like amazing by any means, but it had its moments and it was fun. And then they're like, "Oh, this isn't getting picked up for season
Is
2."
that
So I was like,
what was it? That's the one where it was like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but with zombies.
"Yeah, zombie
Yeah,
apocalypse." Yeah,
yeah,
and the dude from Ferris Bueller was in it
yeah.
as like the
I liked.
principal and
I
stuff. Yeah.
liked. It was really heavy-handed in some episodes, and it made me like roll my eyes. But
Well, yeah, and like some of like the shit, of course, it was like a little like it was like over the top to the point where it's kind of stupid. I'm like, all right, but like there was points like where he like cut his fucking fingers like off
yeah,
and
no,
stuff with his own
I actually
sword.
did
And like,
watch. I did watch the show, and I liked it. And you're just now telling me that there's no season 2. Like I didn't even know until you just told me.
oh yeah, like after season 1 and stuff like that. Shortly after, it was like a month later or something like that, and they were like, oh yeah, this isn't picked up for season 2, and people were pissed because it like just came out,
Yeah.
and people like were just now like watching it and stuff, and then to find out. And it was the same thing where there's this other show called it was a Netflix original called Everything Sucks. And it's like these like little it was like this black kid, it was like these AV kids or whatever, and this like little black kids in love with this chick or whatever, but she's in the girls, and he like basically is like refusing to like accept that, so he still likes her. And then it's kind of like him coming to terms with the fact it was almost like a Chasing Amy sort of scenario where the entire season's basically him like still trying, but then at the end having to come to terms that they will only ever be friends and that she's not into him
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
and will
There's
never
nothing
be
you can
into
do
him.
about it, bro.
And it was good and it had its moment. I was like, oh, like that's pretty that's a cool kind of like coming to terms, like they're tackling like these kind of issues and stuff that really do exist and not like putting some like weird Hollywood kind of like spin on it. And I was like, it's really grounded and it was fun. And it's like, oh, we're not getting a season 2. And I was like, dude, fuck you
Yeah,
guys. Like,
and no one knows how Netflix does their metrics either. Like, there's no like paper trail for you to know why something was canceled or something wasn't. So, by the
Yeah.
way, I just looked it up. Guess who owns Cartoon Network?
Are
Time
you
Warner.
chasing the paper trail?
Well, it's wait. So technically, it's owned by AT&T, but AT&T merged with Warner Brothers or Warner Media, and so Time Warner owns Cartoon Network. So that's why all the Cartoon Network shows are going to be on HBO Max.
God damn it. You're like, it's like that thing where, it's like you Wikipedia, like, for like it takes 8 Wikipedias to get from one thing to one thing. It's just how you like do it, and you can go through it. It's like you'll always end up on that thing through 8 Wikipedia searches
Well,
or whatever.
it was a while ago. I was reading this comment from Jonathan Hickman called the Nightly News, and it was it's all about basically how this like not cult, but like this secret or group of ex-military hate the news, and it was talking about stuff. And this comment's like 10 years old, and it's talking about stuff that like everyone talks about now. How you can't trust the news, how they hear more about advertisement than for actually getting stories out and everything. But what was cool was there was a lot of info in there where it was like all news channels are basically owned by 6 companies, you know, and so I was reading that on a plane ride, and so I decided to look it up in real life because I was like, they were throwing out so many facts like in this comment. I was like, are they real? And because it's 10 years old, actually there have been murders. So every single news organization or even media, there's just 4 companies that basically own everything. You have like Disney, Warner Media, and there was like 2 other ones, and they basically every channel that you watch is owned by one of these 4 companies, and that's basically it.
Well, yeah, basically because Disney owns Fox and like I think NBC or something like that. And...
Yeah, they own ESPN, so all sports and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's crazy, but I mean, also I don't hear that much. Like if I'm getting the show that I want, whatever.
Dude, that's like has like Mark Millar done anything new recently or
So
anything?
he actually what Netflix signed like a partnership with them to do a bunch of Mark Millar as he did. I don't think in comics he brought back Hit-Ass, but I never read it because the story was over. He did 3 Hit-Ass stories and 1 like Hit Girl, and it was done. So I when they rebooted it, I didn't want to read it. But he's done a couple other things like I want to say Jupiter's Legacy and stuff like that, and that was really good. And it was like as if superheroes were celebrities, like the same way we treat like Matt Damon and Christian Bale, but they're superheroes, so they like all live in Hollywood and stuff, and there's all these dramas. But yeah, Netflix did a partnership, and they were gonna do like live action animated movies and shows based off of all of his comics, and I've never seen any mention of it since that's happened.
Well, that's like because I had heard back like forever ago that they were gonna do movies for Nemesis and then what the fuck, Superior?
Yeah, Superior was awesome.
Yeah, I heard that they were gonna do movies for both, and I was like, oh, dude. Well, I was like, I do love Superior, and I was like, I think Nemesis would be like a fun movie and stuff. And did you ever read Nemesis?
No. I read Superior and I loved it. And I always wanted to read Nemesis, but I have such a huge backlog that now for the first time I've actually been getting through. That's why I've been reading a lot of those old Batman stories. As I had like a pile like fucking this thick of stuff, and I'm finally now getting through it. So I'll get to Nemesis eventually. But you and go ahead and tell me what it was about.
Yeah, I was like, if you don't care about spoilers or fucking anything like that, I was like, because like the whole premise of Nemesis basically is this dude, and it's like the whole concept around it was like what if someone was effectively Batman but crazy like the Joker was like the initial concept. So the dude like wears this like all white suit, but he like does fucking cocaine and just like runs amok, and he fucking like kidnaps the president's daughter and all this shit, and like has her hostage and is like making the president do a bunch of shit for him and stuff, and then like gives the president his daughter back, but he he fucking like he made her pregnant, but with the not by him though, like he artificially like inseminated her with her brother's semen and stuff, but like made them like retarded and like planted bombs in her so like she couldn't get an abortion or it would kill her.
What?
So like to force her to give birth, like that level of like fucking like weird,
Yeah,
like,
that
crazy
does
shit.
sound
And,
like
like
something the Joker might do.
yeah, and like the government's like going like war with him, and he has like fucking like tanks and shit, and is like running like rampage through the city and shit. and eventually they end up like fucking killing him, and he's like laying there like dying or whatever, and they're like, all right, like, you know, we took care of this, whatever. But then at the end you find out uh there's a nemesis program, and what it was they basically let filthy rich people pay to be like villains for a day and shit like that. So you find out that he's basically just one of many people who was purchased into the Nemesis program at the end, and that there's like dozens of other people like getting ready to do this like shit. And I was like, and they set it up for like a sequel that way and stuff, that, you know, he was just one.
Yeah.
And so I figured like the sequel would be like, it would cover like one of the other people who fucking paid to be a fucking villain for a day and shit. But then they never came out with the sequel or whatever. I guess it probably wasn't as popular as Kick-Ass or Superior or
Yeah.
something. So
Yeah.
it was just focused.
Maybe if they came out with the show, you know, or the movie, then it would get back up. But I mean, I've never even. That sounds like an awesome story.
Yeah, no, it was pretty good because it was only like 6 issues and stuff. And maybe it is for the best because, you know, like Kick-Ass 1, I really enjoyed. And then 2, I was like, yeah, okay, this is pretty good. Like, and I got, I think, maybe 2 issues into 3. And I was like, all right, we're going to close the page on the, like, I'm like, this fucking sucks.
You have to know when to stop. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people who read comic books get caught in that trap, like, especially with bigger stories, like, at least Kick-Ass, well, no, it's still going on. Like, that's what I'm saying. At the end of 3, I was like, all right, I'm not gonna read any more after this. Like, I made my own ending. It's good. But, like, I read, like, they had this Batman run that was, 85 issues. It was one story, 85 issues. It was written by Tom King, and he's phenomenal. He was a CIA agent for 11 years, and like during 9/11 shit, and it was like over in Iraq killing people. And then when he got back home, he was like, "I'm gonna write comic books," and he like wrote some really cool shit like Miracle Man. And did you ever like see the one where it was like the Vision family, where it was like Leave It to Beaver, but the Vision?
No.
Oh man, it's so good. It's like it's just like I think 10 issues and that's it. And it's like the Vision, after breaking up with Scarlet Witch, like decides to start his own artificial. Like he makes a fake wife and fake children for himself, and it's crazy. It's a really good story. I think that they're probably gonna use some of it for the WandaVision TV show if that ever decides to come out.
Yeah, like when you were saying that, that's kind of what made me think of when it showed that black and white scene and stuff.
Yeah,
exactly. Andy Griffith, Leave It to Beaver sort of.
I think it's gonna be like half the Visions, half House of M. That's what it was called, right? Yeah. But anyways, yeah, like so Batman, he wrote this like 85 issue story, and like I read 1 through 85, and it's all like one huge thing with Bane and Catwoman. It's where Batman's gonna get married to Catwoman and all this stuff. And then I read 85, and then my comic book dealer is like, "Hey, 86 just came out," and I was like, "Nope, I'm good. I'm not starting in that story. I'm not signing up for 80 more issues. I'm done. We're moving on from this."
You're like, end scene.
Yeah, is that for me? The story is over. I don't need to know anything else.
Dude, that's like that's what I had to do for the anime Bleach and stuff, because for and, like the manga, because it got to a point where it's like, all right, there was like the big overarching villain stuff. I'm like, he fought him, he killed him, he lost his powers and stuff in the process, and it's like cool, like everything, they wrapped everything up, and it's like end. And then Chris kept reading it though, and it's like basically after that they're like, oh, so turns out this dude isn't dead. And they're like, and what if I can tell you can get your powers back tenfold? I'm like, nope. I'm like, he killed him, he lost his powers, that's the end. Like,
I did
it's done.
Yeah, I did the same with Naruto. I think I read like the first 150 manga for that, and it was like basically the whole training program, and then he has the whole with the sand guy. You know, there's that whole fight with the sand guy, and then it was like done, and they graduated. And I was like, okay, done, good enough. That was a good story. I don't need to know about what they do after they graduate. It was a school story for me. There's nothing after this in my head.
Oh man. Yeah, because some of those I know, like One Piece is still going on, and I'm like, that's disgusting.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
like,
like if I tried to start that right now, I wouldn't finish it in 10 years. Like fuck that.
but it's like weird because there's like, and then there's the people who like are up to date on it, and they're like, bro, it's so good. Like I'm like, I don't believe you. I'm like, I don't. I tried. Like I started like at one point I like because I never liked the art style really to begin with, but then like Megan put it on one time, and I think we watched like the first like 30 episodes or something like that. And I was just kind of like, I don't really want to go any further. I'm like, I've seen what's to come, and I'm like,
Yeah,
and I'm just not along for that ride.
yeah. I mean, there's just so much stuff. Like, there's just too much. There's like sort of back to that Netflix, problem. You turn on Netflix and it'll tell you like there's 10 new shows. It's like I don't have time to watch 10 new shows. Like even if it's really good, I need. Here's how I handle new TV shows now. I need at least 3 other people to tell me it's really good, or I won't even consider it. Like that's the like it took me like weeks after everyone else was into Tiger King for me to watch it, as I was like, I'm not wasting my fucking time on some redneck who breeds tigers. All right, until more people tell me it's good, then I will watch it, and then I did, and it was amazing. But
I know I still need to watch it. I saw they just had like a little teaser trailer thing for season 2 of Umbrella Academy,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I'm excited for that. I was like, dude, I fucking love
Yeah,
season 1 of
that one
that.
was
I
really
was like,
good. I always get that confused with, man, there was a. Oh yeah, Doom Patrol. I get Doom Patrol and Umbrella Academy confused as they were both really weird, fun anti-hero shows.
yeah. I was like, and then like I just finished Midnight Gospel.
I've never even heard of
Oh,
that.
oh man, it's on Netflix. It's made by one of the co-creators is Pendleton Ward, who
Oh
created
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Adventure Time. Yeah. So the whole premise is this guy, Clancy, or I think that's his name. Yeah, Clancy. He Midnight Gospel is his podcast, and he lives in space, and basically he's like, I do everything for my like one viewer or whatever who listens to the podcast, and he goes to his computer thing, has like virtual alternate earths or whatever, and he basically creates an avatar and then sticks his head in this vagina thing, and it shoots him into that like reality, and he finds someone and interviews them for his space cast, and the entire thing is him. Then basically it's almost like they animated something around an actual sort of podcast, and the whole thing is just like him talking to someone, and they can be talking about like whatever, but it has nothing to do with what's actually going on in the world around them like while they're talking. So like the first episode is him, and he goes to this one world, and he like crashes on this dude with glasses, and it's the president, and there's like a zombie apocalypse going on, and so like the president's like killing zombies while he's talking to him, interviewing him, but the entire time they're never talking about zombies, they're never talking about anything except for like the concept of like illegal drugs, and like why they're illegal, and like how like he's like tripped on LSD and like almost like choked on his own vomit and died and stuff from like doing too many drugs, and like all this shit, and it's like animated very kind of like Adventure Time-ish, but it's like shittier Adventure Time. It's almost like season 1,
Yeah, I'm
but
looking.
even
I'm looking it
crappier
up
than
right
that.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely recommend. It's only 8 episodes, and I will tell you what, that last episode is fucking insane. Like, and it has like an overarching kind of like each episode's its own thing, and the people are weird that they encounter and stuff. But there's kind of like just like the early Adventure Time. Like, there's not really like a set storyline, but there's like an overarching
Yeah, yeah.
theme that's building, and it all kind of comes to a climax and an end in the last episode. And I'm like, God, I hope there's a season 2.
All right. Well, I'll wait until 2 other people tell me it's good, and then I'll watch it.
Cause yeah, I watched that, and then I need to continue season 3 of Castlevania.
Oh, I finished that. Wait. So here's the thing. Everyone told me season 3 of that was so good. Like That's
Yep, that's what I've heard.
I didn't even watch season 1 or 2. Like no one talked about it, and then season 3 came out, and everyone was like, "Man, it's so good." It's like, all right, I'll give this a try. Season 1 was weird. Like it was kind of a struggle for me to get through because it seemed like there wasn't a plot. Like I didn't know what was going on. Season 2 though was phenomenal. It was
Yep.
so good. I was like sitting there like this is god tier television right now. Like this is it right now. And then I watched season 3, and I don't know if it's because I was so hyped from season 2 or what. Season 3 was weird, man. Like it wasn't bad, but like I hope there's a season 4 and they do better. Let me just say that.
Well, and I have high hopes too, because like the team or whatever that's animating it, also forever ago they got the rights to Devil May Cry.
Oh, whoa, cool.
So yeah, like they got the rights, but they haven't shown or said anything about it since like they acquired the rights to it. And I was like, I was like, do an awesome Devil May Cry anime.
Yeah, it
I
would
was like,
work.
I
It
would
would
love
work. I think
that.
this is the same team. I'm not 100% sure. I could be wrong. That did like the animated Wolverine. There was like a 3 episode anime Wolverine show, and it was so good. And it was like so uber violent and stuff. I don't know.
Do you watch BoJack Horseman?
Yeah, I just finished it. The other
Dude.
day, as I've been wrapping everything up. Like that's what I've been doing with my time is all these shows that I've started and never finished. I've been going back and finishing them all.
I was like, man, I was that like I don't I like the ending and stuff. I thought it was gonna end differently.
Oh yeah, I think everyone thought it was gonna be way more depressing. Like the
Yeah.
second to last episode is what I thought
Yeah.
the last episode was gonna be, as it was so fucked up. And
Dude.
then yeah,
Dude, the entire time during that the view from halfway down poem, I'm like, dude,
yeah,
this,
yeah.
I'm like, this is so good.
Yeah, and I remember like too. Here's the thing: my favorite parts of that show are when I feel terrible. You know,
Yeah.
like
That's the appeal.
yeah,
Is like,
the dementia episode with his mom, where the whole thing's like from the
yes.
perspective of someone with dementia. Like you just feel like the world is terrible and there's nothing you can do about it, and that's gonna happen to you one day. Like
Well, that's like every season, and that's like the main appeal, at least to BoJack to me, is that I know going into it that every season has that like one episode where he's just like it's just extra shitty.
yeah,
And that's the episode of what like season one's where he sabotaged Todd. And it's like, he was gonna move out, and it's like you find out that he's the one who ruined like
yeah,
Todd like moving out in his career.
yeah. And then you had like the whole thing with the chick that does the voice of Jamie Lynn or whatever her name was. I don't remember.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
whole
think that
thing,
was
like
it.
like not just you have her being shit and it being his fault because he like fed her alcohol when she was 10 years old and then has sex with her and then basically kills her and like
Yeah.
oh my
Leaves her to die.
yeah,
basically.
yeah, and like lets her die so he doesn't get in trouble. Like, oh my god, you. So that's why I thought that after everything that he did, like the moral of the story was gonna be he's still a piece of shit. It doesn't matter that he's teaching at some school; he's still gonna have the worst ending possible. And they just, I think that they got told they're not allowed to or something, as it would be way too fucked up to end on a note like that.
Yeah, I was like, but man, every like you said, the dementia episode where you see from his mom's perspective and like why she was so fucked up,
Yeah,
and then it's like the next season, like when then the next season or whatever, when that I think the super sad episode is the wake episode where he's like, and it's like he's still like you. He doesn't know like what we know about her. It's like he's still trying to like he doesn't understand certain things like about her still, but it's like we know why it's all fucked up,
Yeah.
but he doesn't like give a shit. He still thinks that she was just the shittiest person ever.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
well, that's like I also saw the other day. It was announced because the same. I mean, it's not the exact same people, but I know so like the Tuca and Birdie and stuff. If you've ever seen, it had one season on Netflix was super good. It's animated in the same style. It's like in the same universe as BoJack
Oh no,
Horseman
I never even heard of
and
this.
stuff. And it's like this toucan and this like bird, but and it's like not as it has like some moments and stuff in it, but it's nowhere near as depressing as BoJack and
Yeah.
stuff. But it's more like a lighthearted version of BoJack. That's like animal and people and stuff like world, and it was super good. And again, got canceled after one season. I was like, "Fuck!" But Adult Swim actually picked it up, and they
Oh,
said that
all right, all right. So
in
it'll be
twenty
on
twenty
HBO
one, it's
Max. So
yeah, probably like yeah, because they said that in 2021 the new season's coming. So I was like, all right,
yeah,
I'm
I think that now what's really cool is that can happen. You know, like I
Mhm.
actually just found out that Swamp Thing is going to be saved. That they're gonna put it on. I think CW, which that sounds terrible. That's such a terrible decision. But I don't know.
That's the kiss of death
Yeah,
right there.
oh, it's so bad. I really hope I read that wrong. Because like, yeah, it was one of those DC shows, and it had like after one episode, it got canceled. Like you literally have one episode that's phenomenal. People are praising it, and then they pull the plug and they cancel it. So like a lot of people didn't watch the first season because why would you watch a show that you know is already canceled? But it was so good. Like if it actually ends up showing on a different network or something, it's a horror TV show. Like better than any other horror TV show I've ever seen, and it's funny because it's like a DC thing, so there are other DC characters like riddled into it. So it's like weirdly not serious and at the same time like so nightmarish and like gory and graphic.
Well, and I think from like my understanding, the reason it even got canceled was basically because budget. Like they
Yeah.
couldn't support like
It's like
filming a full season of
and you
that.
could tell too like the first couple episodes are like all practical effects. Like there's one scene that literally is almost identical to John Carpenter's The Thing, where like this like crazy weird like malformed like creature is like spreading all over the moor and like eating people. It's so fucked up and graphic. And then like later on, like when you get to episode 8, like you could tell it's like kind of shitty CG because they ran out of money to do things.
They were like, "All right, my nephew who just graduated from UAT
Yeah.
is gonna
So we've
put
been
this together."
we watch shows and we joke as there'll be shows where it's like really good in one section and that's the guy that was like hired to do it, and then there were like other like side stories that are so bad that they just like gave it to the intern as they couldn't afford to like have someone actually work on it.
Well, I mean, that's just like, I quit fucking watching The Flash after the first 2 seasons because it was like season 1, great. I was like season 2, I was like, like it was hit or miss some parts, but I was like the parts where it hit, I was like it hit good, and then like at the end, I was like, yeah, no, I'm like this is where I'm like I'm
I'm
gonna tap out.
I was like falling behind on a lot of those shows, and I'm not caught up on any of them. I really want to watch, as apparently they have Crisis on Infinite Earths, and
Mhm.
apparently like they have people from Kingdom Come, like the Titans from DC's Titans show are in it. Like they have tons of people, so I want to watch that when it comes out on Netflix. But yeah, a lot of those I fell behind. The Flash does have, I want to say it's like season 4 or 5 is phenomenal. Like there's one where the villain isn't a speedster finally, and like it's just this super smart dude. Like he doesn't even have powers or anything. He's just like this super smart guy, and he just out tricks the Flash, and it's really really good. But besides that, yeah, you don't need to watch any more of these shows.
Well, and that's why, like, even like, and that's what sucks is because it's like I want to, but it's just like I know I'm just like, dude, it's not gonna be like
Well,
as great.
the thing too is like you're signing up for 45 minutes an episode, 23 fucking episodes. Like it's not like you can just sit down and watch like The Watchmen, that HBO show. You could watch
Mhm.
that in 2 days, easy.
Yeah.
Like it's hour long, but it's 8 episodes, I think, and it's done. Like it's a complete story that I don't think they're doing a season 2. It's different when it's like, hey, watch this show that has 8 seasons and fucking 700 hours of TV for you. So
12 of these 24 episodes are going to basically be filler
yeah,
episodes.
exactly. Oh man, you ever wonder what the son of this one-off villain is doing? Well, we're gonna show you.
Because yeah, that's what sucked. Because I was like, man, I'm like, I fell off the Flash hard. I was like, I don't want to watch. And then it's like I saw like people, like certain people on like Facebook or whatever, them still friends with, like would watch it, or I would still get like advertisements for it. And then it's like I'd see like there's an episode and with the Reverse Flash, and they're like, oh dude, this was so good. And I'm like, see, I want to watch that, but just that episode. But I would have no context as to anything else that's going on because it's like in the middle of the season.
Yeah,
But
and the
I
problem is
love the
even
Reverse
in
Flash.
that episode, you'll like have these cuts where it's like, oh, that episode was good. Well, half of it was. The B story was about how Cisco went to World 2 to go on a date.
Yeah. And he's like, I don't want to be a metahuman anymore.
Yeah, that's the problem, too, with every single one of these shows. I think Black Lightning, if you ever watch that one, is the only one that doesn't have this, well, I can't abuse my powers because that's selfish, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to abuse my powers, and then bad things are going to happen, and then I'm going to learn my lesson, but then I'm going to do the identical thing the next episode. Like, Black Lightning's the only one that I know of that hasn't fallen into that trap. It's just like a guy who's like, oh yeah, I have superpowers. I've had them for 40 years. My wife knows. My kids know who I am. I have no secret identity. My kids also have superpowers. I'm gonna train them. Like, whatever. Fuck this. Oh, should I not? Oh, will it ruin my relationship with the woman I love? You know? Bullshit.
Yeah, like, she knows.
Yeah, she knows. She knows. We're done. I'm 40 years old. I ain't got time for this shit.
It's like, I gotta be home by 6 for dinner,
Yeah,
or my wife's
like,
gonna fucking kill me.
Yeah. I would, if you wanted to get back into it, I would watch at least the first season of Black Lightning, and that one was really good.
I was like, that's like, it's so funny too, because like we've been watching a lot of old movies. Like Megan's been watching especially a lot of like romantic comedies and stuff, and some of the shit I'm just like, dude, like some of these actors like fell off like hard. Like I haven't seen them in anything since like the night like we were watching like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, and like certain ones with like, it's like, you know, Bridget Jones' Diary and shit like that. And you see all these, I'm like, dude, I totally remember all these actors. Yeah. I couldn't tell you a fucking thing that they've been in since like
you don't even
1999.
Know if they're still alive or
not. Yeah. See shit with like John Goodman in it and stuff, and I'm like, dude, I couldn't tell you the last time John Goodman like was in like an animated movie as like a voice of something.
Yeah, I don't know. But we just watched what was it last night? Ford versus Ferrari, that movie with Matt Damon and Christian Bale, and
yeah.
like Matt Damon, Christian Bale, superstars, right? You know, they're still doing stuff, but literally every single other person in that, we're like, oh, we know that guy. Oh, that shit's in this. Like, good for him. Eating work, you know? Like,
yeah. They're like, we got student loans to pay off and shit. Like, they're like, yeah, I'll be like guy who like changes tire number 4.
Pretty much, it's like guy who answers the phone, you know, and tells someone else there's a call for them.
That's like another show that like I fell off hard. Like, even though it's like the final season and I started it, I was just like, nah, I'm done. Was that fucking Silicon Valley?
Oh yeah, I have not watched. In my mind, that show's over. You know, I don't know why they kept going with it.
I'll tell you why they kept going with money. Like it like got views, and they were like you watch like season 1, and I was like, oh, this is great. And like really, after you watch like I think up to like season 3, it should have been done.
Yeah, I think I watched like season 4, and it ended with him like getting a deal. Like Pied Piper became a thing, and I was like, all right, like this was the art. He was trying to make his own company. He has a company now. The story's over, you know.
Yeah, and then now it's like he like now like owns this huge company, and like now like whatever, and I'm like, and the you know, the funny dude from fucking Deadpool and stuff isn't in it anymore.
Yeah, when people start leaving, that's when you know a show's over.
Yeah, and like they're trying to like wrap up. I'm like, dude, the story's like I get that it got a bunch of views or whatever, so you're like through. It had the same problem as like fucking Eastbound and Down, where it ended, and then they're like, okay, but money,
Yeah,
and they're like, all right, I guess we can do a fourth season of this, and I'm just like, no, you ended it, like leave it be. Even though it was season 4, it was still fucking funny. I'm still just like, no, like
yeah.
wrap it
Yeah,
up.
yeah, walk away. Yeah, learn to walk away from things.
I'm like, invest that money in a new series. Like, don't fucking drown and taint the good series that you
Well, yeah,
made by.
that's what I have a theory that no show should ever last beyond 5 seasons. Like I don't think that like The Walking Dead. You're telling me it got better, with time. You look at like The Wire, amazing show, 5 seasons. Breaking Bad, amazing show, 5 seasons. No show has ever gone like Dexter, perfectly fine example. Amazing show up to like season 4, and then it just went downhill.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones,
Weeds.
Game of Thrones. There's not a single person on this planet that's going to tell me season 6 and 7 was the best seasons of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's like weeds. Like, after season 3, it should have ended. Like,
Yeah,
they were like, all right, her house got burned down. They need to move or whatever. Like, she can't sell weed anymore. Ends. And then they're like, no, we're going to go to Mexico. And they were selling hash. And I'm like, that's not even fucking weed. You're
yeah.
not even selling the thing that the show is based off of anymore. Like, is this how far from God we've strayed? That this is what we're doing right now? Like, goddamn.
Yeah. But all right, man. I'm gonna wrap this up. Actually, I woke up like when I hit you up saying I'm ready. I woke up, so I haven't like had breakfast or done anything. I like took a 5 minute shower and then hopped onto this webcam.
I mean, hey, that's fine. I'm glad. I appreciate when my guest can tell me when my fucking podcast is over, Troy, but that's fine. No, why don't you plug your shit?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I should probably do that.
Yeah, we never even did an intro,
Yeah.
by the way. This is like episode 23, I think, of the podcast, if I remember. On.
Yeah,
I had it
no.
up. Yeah, it's episode 23.
Yeah, I got
My guest,
So
Troy Snapping.
yeah, but I'm not the snapping anymore as I shut down that site. So now I'm all about the Comics Code Atrocity, which is, and we talked about it a little bit earlier. Podcast where I tell atrocious retellings of the greatest comic book stories that ever happened. My latest episode was all about Kingdom Come, which is 50 years in the future. You have a retired Justice League that come back to teach whippersnappers how to beat good guys again, and then you have a bionic Batman who decides to bitch slap Shazam. So it's good stuff. We got a lot of stuff to talk about in that one. I'm on I don't know, everything. I have YouTube, but I also have Anchor, Apple Podcasts, which for some reason 49% of my viewers listen on Apple Podcasts, but I'm on Spotify and Stitcher and all sorts of stuff. It's all the Comics Code Atrocity. It's like Comics Code Authority, but I didn't want to get the trademark suit, But yeah, that's it. So if you liked what we talked about today, with some of the nerd shit with Red Hood and Swamp Thing and Long Halloween, you give it a listen, see if you like my style.
But yeah, I appreciate you. I always appreciate it too when people actually like reach out to me and want to come on the podcast instead of me having to like feel like I'm pestering people and I'm like, hey, I need a guest. Do you want to come on?
Well, that was
So
the thing too. Was I know you bothered me like 3 or 4 times, and I kept telling you I was busy, and then you never talked to me again. And I was like, oh no, now I feel a little bad. Let me hit him up. I was also
I'm gonna do a pity episode with this fuck.
Well,
like
the thing is, actually, the reason I even remembered was because we were talking about Animal Crossing every once in a while on Facebook, and I was like, oh yeah, he does a podcast. We should get together again.
But I appreciate you coming on, and maybe in like another 4 months we'll do another episode, and we won't be trapped in our respective living quarters.
Oh, I know, right? Once this is all over, I need to get the hell out of the city. Like, I don't know where I need to go, but I need to vacation somewhere. I need to get just away. So if I end up going to Arizona, maybe we can do one of these in person.
Yeah, I was like, I have a guest bedroom. You can stay. I was like, we'll get some pizza by Napoli's.
I'm down, man. I'm down.
All right, man. All right, and that's gonna be a wrap, ladies and germs. Thank you, and see you later.
Peace, man.
All right.